Good morning, everyone. How are you this morning? It is Monday, September 29th. And we have a beautiful sunny day out there. Just bring it up on my iPad. Sounds like the audio is working, so that's good. All right. Yeah, it's a beautiful day outside. My name's Debbie Scott. I'm your Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Brigden, Ontario. And yeah, feel free to say hi in the comments if you're watching live or if you're watching the replay, either way. And let me know where you're watching from. I always find that super interesting. See how far people's videos go. It's neat. So this week I am working with the Delicate Pines bundle. This is an online exclusive, I'm pretty sure. And it is a suite. It has this beautiful paper with it as well. And it has some gems and some ribbon, and then it's got the stamp set and the die set as well. So this is kind of a unique set in that it's snowflakes, but it's using pine boughs to make the snowflakes. So I did have one here. I cut one out. I forget what I did with it. Oh, I misplaced it. But I did cut out these 3 little boughs, and you just put them together. There it is. It's hiding on me. And it makes a little snowflake using the little pine needles. And I just think this whole set is super cute. So we're going to make a card using this today. And every Monday, Global Design Project puts out a new challenge. And this week it is Case the Designer. And so yeah, I'm basing my card off of this beautiful card using the pear suite. I don't have that, so I decided to go with a wintry feel today. So we're going to use the Delicate Pines. But I'll keep that handy so we can see what that's going to look like. I'm kind of just using it as a sketch guideline since I'm not using the same product. So this is a photopolymer set, and the images are at 80%. So you can see here that this snowflake is quite a bit larger than it is on the front of the stamp set. And the reason they do that is just so that they can fit everything on the front. So we're going to be using kind of the middle. There's a large one here, and then this one's the middle, and then there's a smaller one there too. So we're going to be using that and the dies a little bit. First, what we're going to do is, where should I start? Let's start right at the base. I'm using Garden Green for my card base, and it's just standard size. So that is 5.5 by 8.5. Yes, 5.5 by 8.5, and then you score it at 4.25. Just going to use my bone folder there to make it nice and crisp. I have pulled in another new product. I don't know how well you can see this on the video, but it is white paper embossed with a little snowflake, and it is super cute. I really like this paper, and this comes in a pack with 6 sheets. So I have cut that to be my front layer, and that is cut at 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. So I just have a tiny little bit showing around the edges there. So I'm going to go ahead and put that down. There we go. And then I have brought in some dies here. And I cut those in that same snowflake embossed paper. And I am using the Nested Essentials dies. I believe that's this one. Yes, I'm going to be using the middle two dies. So I've cut 4 of those, and that's going to go like that to mimic the rectangles on our sketch here. You can see that. And if you want to play along with this, just post your cards. You can post a photo of that and use this hashtag here. Not sure if you can see that. GDP516. And then if you just search that hashtag as well, then you can see everyone's projects and see how they interpreted the sketch. Just want to make sure I have my card going the right direction here. So those are going to go on there. But before I do that, I'm going to make my next layer. I have just a scrap piece, and I'm going to use soft sea foam. We're going to kind of create our own background paper here. So we're just going to blend that soft sea foam all over. I want a nice light background because then we're going to stamp in soft sea foam one of the snowflakes. So we just want to do enough of this paper that we can get 4 of those rectangles. And you can see when I am blending, I'm just picking up a bit of that ink and I'm just tapping off a little bit on my scrap paper, just so that you don't get those harsh lines when you first put your blending brush down. These blending brushes are a great thing to add to your stamping tools. They come in a pack of 3, and you can get, there's 2 different sizes. This is the large one, and then there's also a much smaller one. I like them both. It kind of just depends what you're using it for. When you're doing a whole sheet like this, like quite a big, large area, it's nice to have a bigger one. If you're just doing a small area, sometimes it is nice to have the smaller. I guess if you could just get one size, I would probably go with the bigger ones. I use those more often. Okay, that looks pretty good because we don't want it to be too dark. Then we're going to take that snowflake image and we're going to stamp 4 of these. Keeping in mind that, oh, maybe, excuse me, maybe I didn't go far down enough. Down far enough, unless I go this way. Nope, I gotta go this way. So I do need to go over just a little bit further, I think. Now you can wash these blending brushes, and the bristles will stain, but if you wash them with soap and water, then the ink won't transfer. But I use, I have a few of them, like maybe 3, 6, 9, maybe 10. And so this one you can see I just always use for green. And then I have one kind of for each different color. Not for like one for garden green and one for soft sea foam, but I have one for green, one for red, one for purple, that sort of thing. And then I just go over my scrap paper, and you can pretty much get most of the color out of there. Some people will have 2 for green. They'll have one for dark green, one for light green. And that's an option, good option too, just so you don't have to have one for every color. So we're going to stamp a snowflake here, and your whole snowflake isn't going to show, but that's okay. I just want a little bit of my snowflake on each one, and we're going to be cutting out 4 of these. So once we've got that done, like I said, we're going to run those through. And we're going to have this. I want to keep that scrap paper here because we're going to do a little bit more to these backgrounds. I'm going to move this out of the way so it doesn't get dirty. Now the first thing I'm going to do is just splatter a little bit of water on there. And that's going to take off some of the soft seafoam color. It almost makes it look like little snowflakes. So I just have one of our water painters, and it's just plain water in there. I'm just going to tap that. I'll hold it up in 1 second so you can kind of see. Looks pretty good. And just squeeze it a little bit and get a little bit more of that water to come down. There we go. Looks not too bad. And then I've just got a Kleenex. I'm just going to blot any excess water. You don't want to rub, you just want to blot. And as that dries, it is going to make some white marks on there. So it kind of looks like snow. Hopefully you can see that. Yep, in the screen. And one more thing before I get rid of my scrap paper. This is our Wink of Stella. It's a little glitter marker. I have just squeezed out a little bit onto one of my blocks. Oh, there we go. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to tap that on there. And we're going to get some nice glitter. This is quite a bit easier to see in person. Hopefully you can see it on the video because it's so pretty. And that just makes a nice glitter. All right, so we're all done with this. I'm gonna fold that in so that I don't have glitter everywhere till it dries. And I don't think I got any on my shirt. I probably should have worn a different shirt, but anyhow. So this just takes a little minute to dry. I'm just gonna try to be careful with it. And we're just gonna layer those on top there. Actually, I will let those dry a little bit and I will stamp my greeting. So I have just a little scrap here of soft seafoam and it's about 1/2 inch wide. I'm just going to clean off my stamp there so I can use this block. I'm going to keep that one handy because I'm going to use it again, I think, for the inside. And then I have grabbed Celebrate the Season. right here. I love the font on this one. And I'm going to stamp this in Garden Green. So it's a bit darker than the rest of my card, so it just pops nicely. There we go. And I'm done with that. I'm just putting that one back so I don't misplace it. And I am done with that for now. I'm going to use it on the inside as well. Now you can use your trimmer for this. I'm just going to use my scissors. And then I have cut out this little sprig here, this little leaf image kind of thing. And I've cut two of those. I did one in Garden Green, and this one I've taken a scrap piece of paper and just used my blending brush the same as I did here, but I just did it in Garden Green, just so it coordinates nicely with that leaf. I'm just going to use a glue dot, stick those two together. And I've also taken some white twine and I've just created a little bow. So hopefully these are kind of dry now. I'm just going to place those in the middle of the white. And I will just note for you that this white embossed paper with the snowflakes is not exactly the same white as our basic white. I'm guessing that it must be willow white, I think is the color. We do offer two different colors of white. So I'm guessing that that's what this is. I don't have any of the willow white. Oh, I know what I was going to check. And just see. Oh, maybe I don't have it here. Yeah. I have a pack here with just some little tags. These are left over from paper pumpkin kits. I'm guessing that this is the same. It's a whole lot closer in color. This is our basic white. This is the white that comes in the paper pumpkin. So that is pretty close. So if you have any leftover labels from your paper pumpkin, those would match nicely. I just keep those in an old case in case I want them on a project. And then I'm going to put some dimensionals on here. And then we're just going to add those to the front of our card. And then our greeting is going to go here. She has hers in the middle. I kind of preferred it down like this. So I'm just going to use a couple more glue dots, and I'm just going to use glue dots more towards the bottom of my little sprigs. And these you can kind of curl up a little bit to give a little bit more dimension to your card. Those are going to go there, and then I'm going to use some little mini dimensionals. I just find it a little bit easier to use my tweezers for these. Before I lay that down, I am going to take a glue dot and put my, I'm just going to fold in half so it's a little bit smaller, but to put my twine bow. Just want to make sure that's fairly straight there. There we go. And then I thought we could use a few gems on there. Just gonna grab a drink. And I was actually thinking about our rhinestones. This is a super old packaging. That's why it's green. The packaging now looks like this. But it's the same. Everything else about it is the same. These are great to have in your stash because you can color these with your blends markers. This doesn't want to come out. So you can make these any color you want. I'm going to leave them as they are for today. Thinking maybe up here. Where do we want these? Yeah, I think up here. To draw your eye around the card. There we go. Oh, I forgot to add those to my original. I'll pop those on there right now. I am going to do an inside. And I'm going to use my soft sea foam again. And my scrap paper. I'm just going to put these in the corners. Maybe I'll put two here. A little bit of one. There we go. And I'm going to clean that. And I'm going to grab another greeting. So we have warmest winter wishes, or it's the most magical time of the year. I'm going to take the most magical time of the year, I think. I think it will fit on this block if I do it diagonal. We do have larger blocks as well, but I would have to go grab one. And I'm going to stamp that in garden green. I'm going to go right in the middle. Perfect. There we go. So fairly quick card. And similar to our guest designer for the Global Design Project. So that's all I have for today. And until Wednesday, have a good week.